And I'm very pleased to announce that we have here in the audience one candidate, Ron Paul from Texas, who has agreed to sign the American Freedom Agenda and support all of these principles as he campaigns and, if elected to office, as he serves. And Congressman Paul, could you step up? And we'd like to see you sign. Hold it up for everyone to see and elaborate on your willingness.
Okay. You don't have a gun at my back here.
Uncoerced, yeah, this is right.
And, okay, what's our date today?
It's March 20th.
20.
It's not the Ides of March.
Very good. Glad to do it. It's a real pleasure to be here today among these very important conservative leaders. To me, it's unique and important. I'm excited about what you're doing because sometimes there's careless thought about civil liberties, and all of a sudden Republicans and conservatives don't care, and that is in the realm of liberals. And I think this is a testimony to the fact that there are a lot of conservatives that do care, and I think that's very important. You know, there's a lot of talk when we get ready to appoint a Supreme Court justice or any justice about whether or not they're a strict constitutionalist, and we're always looking for them. But sometimes I think that debate is very, very careless because sometimes from the conservative viewpoint, strict constitutionalists are concerned about Roe versus Wade and guns and maybe some economic issue. But when it comes to this, they don't consider this being a strict constitutionalist. These gentlemen here, leaders in the conservative movement, know the difference, and being a strict constitutionalist doesn't mean just when you're pleased to do it. And that's why I think this is so important, what you're doing, because this makes a very, very powerful point. I think if you're a strict constitutionalist, we should follow Article 1, Section 8 and deal with war under those conditions. You know, think about how many problems we might be able to avoid if we don't go to war without a declaration of war. And look at the mess that we have now. And it's under the conditions of war, and it was mentioned, I think, by Richard, that under these conditions, this is when our liberties are challenged. And so it is trying to avoid those conditions when the American people become frightened. So there is a saying that goes that sometimes we ought to be more worried about what's happening here than what's happening overseas. And since I think our foreign policy has an effect on the threat of terrorism, and then you add on to it the threat from our own government. And I don't, as bad as this is, I don't put all the blame on the president, because I think Congress has tremendous responsibility, even on the war issue. We just renege our responsibility and turn it over to the executive branch, and we do not protect the prerogatives of the Congress. And that is my message constantly. Besides, I've been a member of Congress, and I think I can better be critical of the Congress, but they give up too easily. And the temptation for the executive branch over the many, many years, or probably throughout all of history, they say the executive branch is always hungry for power. So it's up to the people and it's up to the Congress to rein in the power of the executive branch. So I'm delighted to join you. I'm delighted to sign this, and I wish you well, and I hope I can help you in this project.